Boys and girls, we're going to review some questions that we've seen during this first semester. One of the first questions I want to highlight is looking at changing decimals to fractions and fractions to decimals. In problem number 7, as we read it, we're looking that there are a total of 40 players. And we want to be able to build a decimal that represents a fraction of players who need knee pads. So, the first thing that we want to do is double check that our total is going to be 40 by adding all of these numbers together. And it is 40. Now I want to highlight that we are looking for the knee pads only, the ones that need pads, and that would be 10. So my fraction that I want to set up is 10 out of 40, because that's the first thing I need to do is come up with a fraction. I want to always think that I can reduce this fraction, so I'm going to reduce it down as low as it can go. If I divide by 10 on the top and divide by 10 on the bottom, I'm going to get a reduced fraction of 1/4. Now, to name that decimal, we can think about that it's either a benchmark and we should know it as 1/4, or we can make this now equivalent to something out of 100. If we do this math and we say multiply by 25, because 4 times 25 equals 100, whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top, and I multiply. So 1 times 25 is 25. This is 25 hundredths, which is equivalent to 25 hundredths, because we're in the hundreds place when we think about this decimal. So now, matching it up to my multiple choice, I have 25 hundredths as a decimal. We're going to try and do some of the same strategies on problem number 8. We just want an equivalent pair, a fraction and a decimal that means the same. They're equal to one another. When I look at there are 4 problems, I would have to test each one of them. In looking at these 4, I then want to consider that I need to make them look the same before I can say they're equivalent. This is an improper. This fraction here is improper. This fraction here is improper, and this fraction here is improper. So the first thing I want to do is change my improper fraction to a mixed number. And how do I do that? I divide out. So 8/5. I call it top dog in the house, but it is 8 divided by 5. How many 5s go into an 8? 1. When I subtract, I have leftover. This becomes a fractional part. I have 3 out of 5. So this fraction right here is written as 1 3/5. And I'm going to do the same thing for all of these first to make sure that I am changing my improper fractions to a mixed. So now when I take my 7/4 and it's 7 divided by 4, 4 goes into 7 one time, subtract the 4, and I have leftover, which is 3, but it is 3 out of 4 as a fraction. So this one is 1 3/4. I have some more to do. I have the 7/2, and I do top dog in the house again, which is 7 divided by 2. 2 goes into 7 3 times, which is 6, and 1 is left over, which gives me my 1/2. So this is 3 1/2. And I have one more to do, which is 3/2. So I do my top dog in my house and say 3 divided by 2. 2 goes into 3 one time. I have a leftover of 1, which is 1/2. So I'm going to name those over here as well. The one fraction that I know without doing a whole lot of work is that this 1/2 is 0.5, so I have 1.5. This 1/2 is 0.5, so I have 3.5. So I'm going to match. I have 1.5. Is that the same as 3.2? No. I have 3.5. Is that the same as 3.1? No. So I'm narrowing down my choices. I'm eliminating. With a little bit of math work, I am eliminating. Now, I'm going to change this fraction to a decimal. 3/4 is like having 3/4, so it's going to be 0.75, because if I get it to 100 and multiply just like I did up here and do that same type of math, then I'm going to be multiplying by 25 on the top, and I get 75. So 75 hundredths is 1.75. Ooh, it's very close, but it's not the same. 1.25 is not the same as having 3/4, which is 0.75. So B is not it. So now we're going to come in here and prove that A might work. Again, getting this fraction to 100, thinking about what you can multiply by 5 to get to 100 is times 20. So 3 times 20 is 60. 60 hundredths is 0.60, so I have 1.60. I have 1.6, and I can add a 0 to the back because this does not change the value, which makes A your best answer. So you're going to need to do some work in order to work these out by changing fractions to decimals, by changing them from improper to a mixed number. Let's take another look at a problem over here on the other side. And this one again is using the equivalence right here. Let's go over again how we can take a fraction and make it equivalent to a decimal. All decimals are related to something out of 100. So if I can get a denominator of 100, then my top is going to say the same thing. So when we think about our decimal, we are thinking that this is the tenths and this is hundredths. And we can just write what we say, and we'll have that last name of hundreds. That's why we have it going into 100. How can I get 4 to 100? We're going to multiply by 25. If I do the top, I multiply by 25, and 3 times 25 is 75. Now let's say it. 75 hundredths. 75 hundredths. So my 7, 5, and my 5 is in my hundredths place. So when I match this decimal, it's 75 hundredths.